Our Father's peace to everyone who catches this message. It's time for a party. Today's party will focus on Mafia Soy Publications. Concentration will be on music, and we're looking at perception of organic marketing strategies. Why are we choosing music? Well, for one, we meet 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time daily to discuss 10 different special interest groups. We don't talk about all 10 of them each day. Each of them has their own special day. Got one in YouTube land. Shalom Barak to you. Shalom Akati. We have just cranked up. It's a beautiful day outside. Tempted to step outside for a little while. As a matter of fact, I think I'll step out on the deck. So yes, was just doing an introduction, getting started. Oh, I know why I'm still here in the house. I'm heating up some water for coffee. So yeah, today we will be discussing Mafia Soy Publications. We're going to be talking about a perspective of music for organic marketing strategies. And of course, this isn't, oh, somebody go write the perfect song or make the perfect beat and become a millionaire overnight. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about for the people who are seeking instrumentals for their backgrounds or whatever the case may be, even if it's entertainment purposes. We're going to talk about music because along with all of the other different forms of product, we feel helpless. We feel like we don't control what's in the market, what's available, let alone do we control the production, the publication, the rights of ownership. Not just the companies that produce and publish, owning your product. Because this isn't about the artist that's striving to get signed on with some label. Last time I checked, all the way around the world, you can own your own business. You're not limited to the types of businesses. Look at here, we got about 20 people in YouTube land. Shalom Barak to everyone, peace and blessings. So yeah, what I want to discuss today has to do with the fact that, yeah, let's say you want to step out and be an entrepreneur. Let's say you want to step out and support other people who have companies. How much are you willing to actually step out and support away from the major platforms that only want to support the major corporations who sleep on the smaller companies? The ones who are elbowing the smaller companies. Mighty funny. We were at 20 and now we're at 7. That's all right. See, this isn't about glitz and glamour. This isn't about a pretty picture. This is about information. I think I got to run the water for about another 3 minutes. Found out just how much coffee means to me last week when I didn't have any. And then taking trips down to Dunkin's meant something. Found out that I am accustomed to drinking, well, I guess they would call it 2 cups per serving. So I'm used to having at least 6 cups of coffee. And I was down to 2 cups every odd day. Now, I won't say that's the reason why I was losing some of the pep in my step throughout the day. However, I do know that coffee is a stimulant and it did help. So, yours truly ordered up some instant coffee, and we're going to try this again. I'll just have to make sure I'm in moderation so that I don't get beside myself. Because to be honest with you, that's been a 25-year habit. Drink enough coffee to get beside yourself. And when I say that, I mean that. Drink enough coffee to where I'm moving so fast it seems like there's two of me because of the vibration. We won't worry about the looky-loos. We're back down to one. Some people will come in and they'll spend time and they may bounce out. That's all right. There are others who actually do come and check out the show after the fact. Yes, we are rocking and rolling today. We're on both TikTok and YouTube. We're rocking and rolling because we've been rocking and rolling since before the electric guitar. We've been rocking and rolling since before that boat that no one wants to talk about. Because we were already rocking and rolling on boats. We were traveling, visiting, and casting nets. And that's what this exercise is. Every time that we get together, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we get together to discuss entrepreneurship and service in your community. Concentrating on the financial aspects of faith and works. They tell us all the time to give charity and give tithes and offerings and all of that. Well, that's kind of hard to do when you're trying to subsist off of your career path and your choice has become to work within the kingdom. So unless we all are on the same page, we have people out here who are isolated while others are still wanting to talk about their faith. I keep it real. So the main issue today is this. For everybody that walks up to you and says, "Oh, I heard you got a problem, I'm going to pray for you." Here's the answer. When they tell you that, number one, prayer is activity. So if you know I got an issue, first thing you can do is actively support me. I don't need you to petition to the Lord because the Lord basically connected us together. So now it's time for the next step. I don't need for you to petition again about the petition. It's time for us to get some activity going. So when you're worried about posting that video and you don't want to use somebody else's copyright protected work, that's when you go into your noggin. That's when you go into your personal Rolodex and you figure out, do I know anybody who is a content creator? Do I know anybody who is a creative, period? Are they kingdom minded? I should reach out to that person. It's not about, oh, will this person do something for me? Reach out to that person and brainstorm. Reach out and ask, do you have some ideas or suggestions? Reach out and say, I have some ideas and suggestions. I want to know if you can help me uh, polish them. Do not be afraid to reach out to people. If you don't have a fear of going to Walmart or Kmart or the nearest mechanic or whatever the case may be, then please do better than just telling someone else, I greet you with our Lord's peace. You want to grant somebody our Lord's peace? Take part in what it is that they do. Then they can go to sleep at night. This is very necessary. Instead of waking up and turning on the TV and wondering what TD Jakes is doing, TD Jakes is not part of your assembly, so why do you care? See, that's what's on my mind all the time. If they're not part of your assembly, why are you giving them that part of your time? I go to sleep and wake up with that question on my mind. So I actually limit what I do as far as watching television, listening to the radio, having conversations. I limit what I do because we only have so much time. Let me give you a pleasant reminder. We're supposed to dedicate at least 2 hours of our waking time to worshiping and doing work for our Creator. That means the best thing you could possibly do is go find somebody else that's actually doing that and say, hey, we need to work together. As a matter of fact, while we're working and we're doing this in faith and we're trying to make sure we are of service, then we're actually putting in our 2 hours together. You want somebody to be your exercise partner? They need to be your works partner. I have one, by the way. We've established it, but we haven't established it. Well, yeah, I have a work partner. I'm very thankful for that, as a matter of fact. Oh, I'll be contacting you after this because I did send you some text and stuff like that and a picture. We're going to pick up where we left off yesterday. That reminds me, how you going to let your water run for 9 minutes and then let it cool off for 3 minutes? It kind of defeats the purpose. So, entrepreneurship and service in your community. What's that have to do with Mafia Soy? Well, you see, Mafia Soy was established in 1999 with the idea that we're going to provide comic books and music for people who, the hip hop culture, for people who do enjoy cartoons and manga, for Asian comics, those who like anime specifically, those who like video games, those who like skating, those who are outside of the mainstream. That's the whole purpose behind Mafia Soy Publications. Yes, we do have a base in music because that's the first thing that you can register. It's not very known, but yeah, you can register your images as well and then proceed to go and sell them in different shops. Doesn't have to be a physical printed picture. Same way that we share photographs. We don't have Kodak anymore. However, there are people who are willing to buy digital photos. Buying videos shouldn't be that foreign of a concept. People buy DVDs and they rent movies, and you watch movies through subscriptions on Roku, Cinemax, HBO. So it's not such a foreign thing. The idea, though, is instead of saying, oh, I spent X amount of time watching Cinemax or Disney or blah, 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 instead of that, I spent X amount of time going and find these content creators who are not on those specific sites. And even if you do find them on a place like YouTube or something like that, they are not talking about worldly concepts. They're talking about how we can actually build communities. You see, we need a communications network where that's what people are talking about. I can't say it enough times. Please don't send me links to somebody else's video footage and they don't own it. Please do not send me links to false reports. Even if I felt compelled to reply to it, I'm going to have a hard time placing that information along with anything that I say. You know why? Found out a little convenience measure that these social media platforms do. Let's say I want to duet a video. Property ownership goes to the original publisher of that video. So anything that I say in response is not my property. It belongs to whoever I'm sending the response to. So no, I can't duet it. If I post a comment, reply through video, I might be able to see that pop back up on my own profile. However, that's not guaranteed either. As a matter of fact, I can't place my own interdependent artist music on those responses unless I'm playing it in the background on a separate device. And even then, unless it's come from my own original post, who's to say I'm going to get credit then? Now, please understand something. This goes beyond being credited for the play of a song. This goes for you being credited for the use of your voice. That means you would have to physically go back, take a recording of that post that you've made with whatever duet, and make sure when you register it, you register the other person, saying that they are a feature you are doing, and you go through the process. That's the only way. Otherwise, that gets lost in the count. Now, what does that have to do with me? Because I don't post content, I just look at stuff. What does that have to do with me? Well, if all you're doing is looking at stuff and occasionally sharing it, because don't play with me. If you're looking at stuff, you're also sharing it whenever it catches your attention. That means that you're just going along giving free advertising. You're giving free promotion. You are lining someone else's pockets. Instead of putting something in the storehouse for the assembly, you're taking out of the assembly. That's why I'm slow to move. That's why I'm slow to respond. Is because I know all of the implications that come behind it. Here's one for you. How many times have you heard of an artist that signs on with a major label, then they get in trouble, and then the major label slowly disowns them, slowly starts cutting them off because of bad representation? Consider that. Consider how many times people have jumped up in the last few months, the last few years, saying, oh, I was following along with this person, and then come to find out they're doing this and that behind closed doors. Well, who and why were you following along? How many times were you just going by what somebody was telling you instead of going and looking it up? How many times were you swayed because somebody was in the limelight? You see, that's why I'm keeping this plain. That's why I'm not sitting up somewhere where it looks like I have the best studio equipment at home. because none of that is needed. None of that says anything about a person's character. So when you're trying to get that message out there and you're kind of unsure about who you want to do business with, who you want to correspond with, consider in your own mind, you do have options and choices. And even though they say, yeah, here, click on this and we'll provide some music for you. Look, it's free. It's copyright claim for you. It still has a copyright claim. And you're still paying someone indirectly. So even when you don't upload your own content and you upload and you share someone else's content, you are indirectly promoting them. So you should be very sure of who it is that you're promoting whenever you post something back out. I'm in the middle of a battle, and it's a big deal of a battle. I had to send an email today. Now, in my own struggles with my personal label, my label that I own, I have a publishing company. And the representative that's supposed to handle my account has not been responding. I've made it to the point where I may have to notify some people outside of their business. First thing, though, is patience. Send one more actual letter or message saying this is the issue and it needs to be resolved. Their response, that's when I take it up to the next level. Right now, I'm looking at something that doesn't just isolate me. I've been watching what people have to say about the rights of entertainers and producers, independent artists and musicians, concerning some of the movements that are being made in the entertainment business. There really is a movement going on right now to push out smaller companies to give recognition to the larger ones. There's a reason why last year everybody was so focused on, there was a reason why they were talking bad about CD Baby. I don't know about CD Baby or DistroKid. I don't care about any of them where you have to pay a membership to get limited uh, exposure. Not a one. I don't care about one individual platform because there are hundreds. I care about them being available. I care about me actually getting my credits for the things that are being exchanged concerning my products. Why? Because if I were distributing any kind of product at any blockchain store, they have to show that the inventory is moving. And when they show that the inventory is moving and they have to order more, whatever the case may be, that means that whoever is distributing that product gets compensated. So guess what's going on in this equation? The inventory is not being kept right and I'm not being compensated. Think about the fact that it's real easy and convenient to go line up somewhere and have someone tell you you have daily tasks. We're going to pay you at the end of the week, or we'll pay you every 2 weeks, or whatever the case may be. It's real easy to line up for that because they've also made it a very small circle, and it's very hard to survive distributing any product outside of what the corporations have already secured. I was talking about it yesterday, and it's going to carry on for a while because it's been my life struggle. They have restricted us from using our own resources. That is what made me angry when I was 6, because I could see that. Now, the real question of the hour is, what are we going to do about it? Number one, stop going outside of your own homes and your own villages to get products. Number two, declare that you have a product. Number three, look out and make sure that that's all we're doing is supporting kingdom and interspersing with each other. Not somebody down the block, not somebody across the state, not somebody just because you like the sound of whatever the music was. People that you actually see. You know, part of church hurt is people showing up every Sunday and Wednesday and everybody talking about they in fellowship and brotherhood and this and that and the third. But that's the only time you feel it, is when everybody's in each other's face and smiling. I've grown weary of that. I had enough of that in school. When you have cliques, certain people support each other. And even then, smile in each other's face, but can I really expect you to be there on a rainy day? This might sound terse to some people. However, this is where I come from. You don't know your friends until you call out and find out who shows up on a rainy day when you need to move furniture or a body. That's also why my broadcasts are not marked for children to view, because I'm grown. Not saying that there's anything wrong with doing instruction for minors and things like that, but no, where my mind is at, I'm going to tell you what I thought about when I was 6 or when I was 16. However, no, I can't speak on that level. Speak from where I am. And from where I am is 35 years at least in the labor force, 49 years of walking around and seeing what society has to offer. And out of those 49 years of walking around and observing, the most major thing that I've found and heard and seen is everybody complains, and then everybody goes right back to the thing that they complain about. Hmm. I see you, Khaled. Don't worry about liking the video. It's not letting you listen to the audio. I'll get back to that. Okay. Khaled is sending me a message from my text. I'll have to check that out in a minute to see what's going on. Unless he's saying that he can't hear the sound. Um, in which case I don't know what's up with that. I'll have to go back and look. So otherwise, everything should be on the up and up. Speaking of which, so yesterday when I was broadcasting, I only broadcasted from YouTube because I was having an issue with my browser. My phone likes to glitch, and apparently it had gone into the browser settings and shut off the uh, permission for the camera and the audio, and I didn't know. It was trying to tell me I needed to go and update it and Google Play and all this kind of stuff. So that's why yesterday I only broadcasted from YouTube. So here we are. We're back again. And then, okay, text messages saying that there's no sound. So then my next question is, y'all must be coming from TikTok. um, Akati, are you having a problem? Because you just responded. So in my mind, I'm thinking you're all right. YouTube is fine. And you know I'm really tempted to push the button. I'm doing my best not to push the button right now. You know I want to go and see if it's even broadcasting correctly to TikTok. Sent 20 more. I'm going to have to ignore that right now because whatever's going on in that chat stream, yeah, connection issues. Oh, that's from something else too. Wow. Those are my own personal notifications coming in. Okay, you can hear fine on this end. We're gonna leave it going like that. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of notifications coming in. I got one from my ex-wife. Then I'm getting some other stuff from Kahalet and one from Cole. And they might be from all kinds of other things. So we're gonna have to set everything on ignore. We're gonna rock and roll through this until the end. So let's see here. Making coffee. I'm getting a phone call. No, I can't take your phone call. That's my brother. My brother that's up here in the same state that I'm in right now. Wow. When it rains, it pours, right? You get to hear from everybody. It just means I'm going to be busy. First, I'm going to call my work partner first. Then everybody else gets a call afterwards. Making coffee. We're making coffee. So, yeah, the water's still a little bit hot. So here we go. The main idea is the fact that anytime we post something up, even though we own it, there are other people making profit off of anything that we post. So we need to claim it. I'm all into this latest story concerning Isaac and the wells. And yes, today I did drop a comment inside of the live concerning the fact that we keep seeing prophets show up and change the social order around these wells. And that's exactly where my mind is at. That's exactly where it's at. They keep trying to deny us from using the wells This guy Yahweh Elohim's name all over it. See, that was my issue when I was 6, when I was hearing the stories. And then that was my issue when I was 8, when I was able to read the stories. Because then there was we had the main big Bible book for the house, and then we had I believe it was Time Warner. They had a series, Bible stories that live for children. So I could comparatively read the story for the children, then go and actually find book, chapter, and verse and read what it says in the Bible. So I read about the times when so and so would walk up to a well and there'd be a situation going on. And there were a whole lot of those times where someone would go up to a well or they were digging around looking for water. And in my studies, this is when I was around 16 or 18, in my studies, I found out, you know, the well didn't look like what we see in these storybook pictures, rock wall that's about 3 or 4 feet high and the little covering and all of that stuff. That's not what the wells look like. You would be walking across a desert or a expanse of land that looked real sparse, like nothing was there. And you see little piles of rocks. And depending on the amount of rocks or how the formation was built, that's what told you who had rights to that spot. Because if you dug underneath those rocks, and water was a hidden water table. So yeah, if you found a formation of rocks built a certain way, that was a signature. And yes, I did find out that there were inscriptions on some of the stones, carvings. Some of them had certain colors or regions where they came from, so they would hold those colors. So you would know who these wells belonged to, because way back then we were traveling. We were nomads. And you have to feed the people as well as the livestock. Everyone gets thirsty. So when Isaac was coming across these wells and it had Yahweh's name all over it, and Isaac declared a name on it, it's because those things were there. That's how you could tell. We have a lot of people right now who are overseeing our resources. We have people managing what we do as if we don't know how to govern ourselves as sovereigns, as if we don't know how to govern ourselves with our life activities. We have people managing our resources. And while they're doing it, they are mismanaging our resources, abusing our resources. Kohelet said today that we ourselves are a resource because of what is in us. The kingdom is within. They took us and tried to control us because of what we possess within. There's a lot of people running around on this planet with superiority complexes. So I'm going to let everybody in on a little secret. I'll tell you the difference between superiority and one who is inferior. One who is superior can display creativity in a sparse circumstance. One who is inferior must mimic creativity. Now, is there anybody in the front row, anybody on the sides, anybody in the back of the room that didn't catch that? It takes superiority to have creativity where everything looks sparse. One who is inferior can only mimic the superior one's creativity. You ever get irritated when somebody micromanages you? Go to and do that task. And 5 minutes later, they're coming back trying to tell you how to do the task, even though they just gave you the assignment or asking you how far along you've gotten. Then they might go away for about 5, 10 minutes and they're right back. Well, if you weren't so sure about me doing this, why didn't you do it yourself or assign it to somebody else? Well, see, that's the thing. If they were able to do it themselves, they would have. And they're going to do that to anybody because all they know is to expect results. We've been given a plan, so there's a goal and a finished product. Now, can I go in and do that with my own hands? Not necessarily. But you're capable. So here's a task for you. Quickest way to get me to leave a situation is to micromanage me. Oh, yeah, that's very irritating. And most times when a person does that, oh, I give them a quip real quick. Do you know what caused Anakin Skywalker to choose the dark side? No. Obi-Wan Kenobi micromanaging all the time. Leave me alone to go over here and do this because I was given the capacity to do so. But if you keep bugging me about it, I'm going to end up fighting you and we ain't going to ever get anything done. You know, people used to be afraid to lie. You know, it's mostly because they believed in, don't be lying, you'll get struck by lightning, right? Results, immediately results, you know. Imagine if Yahweh Elohim micromanaged us. In some ways, we are micromanaged because there are signs. You go to tripping over what you're supposed to be doing, and you will physically trip for not doing the obedience that you were supposed to do. You will physically trip over your own feet or trip over your own tongue trying to talk smart, knowing that you were supposed to be doing a task. Yahweh Elohim will remind you, Subhanahu wa ta'ala, all praises to the source of sustenance and mercy. I mean, so if we have an unseen counsel that is chill enough to not tap us on the shoulder every 2 seconds and ask us, did you do that task? Who are we as human beings to think we're supposed to be doing that? And who are we as human beings thinking that we're supposed to actually submit to someone doing that to us? That means we need to explore our options. We have choices. You got A or you got B. Micromanagement, that lasts for about 400 years from a human being. Micromanagement from a human being, 400 years. Micromanagement from our creator, eternal life. Hmm. Hmm. Choices. Exactly. I do not need you over my shoulder because I know what I'm doing. Khan, Akati Khan. That's one of them times I would stroll off of the work site, the task site, with my chest out and my chin up. They'd say I was going to drown on a rainy day. My nose would be up so high, you know? Yeah, go on and fire me because you're going to have to find somebody else. As a matter of fact, you can go on and do it yourself because that's usually my next retort. After I ask them if they know what made Anakin make his choice, that's going to be my next retort. Well, since you got all these directions and you got all the time in the world to tell me that and stop me from doing what I was doing, it could have been done. How about you do it? Because I already know what I'm doing. Send me away. I got plenty of other things I can do today besides this. Yeah. I want you all to understand why I'm fired up. How would you like it if you opened up an actual store and you were going along for 2 or 3 months wondering why the bank was never honoring all the money that you were turning back in from your cash register? Hold on, now my camera decided it wanted to do something crazy. I didn't tell it to do all that. This is what I was talking about earlier when I said that the browser was taking over and making its own choices. Wow. So it's got you all looking at black and white on the rear view of my camera. Push the buttons. All right, so here we go. We were talking about dang, right. Micromanagement. That's what we're talking about. Micromanagement is a sign of inferiority. If you know that a person can do something, if you know that it is within, and you actually hand them the task, then you should leave them alone to finish the task. That's when you find out who's limited because they don't even see the steps along the way. All they know is they're antsy and waiting for you to turn up a product. That's part of why I knew eventually I was going to have to be a sole proprietor of a business because it was working my nerves to go to report to a job and having somebody looking over my shoulder. Do you not have anything else better to do? That's a violation of my personal space. Well, when you sign up for a job, then you also are signing up to give people permission to do so. That's exactly why I had to walk away from that form of life. It's one thing to be someone's apprentice. It's someone to hire yourself out and the client wants you to do something and they might micromanage you a bit. Well, it's because yeah, you're doing something solely for them. Understood. And even then, please know your know the perimeters of space, know the boundaries. I've worked in a couple of different moving companies, and the crew would get mad. We pick up all the boxes and furniture and all that, pack it into the truck, go to the next location where we're supposed to unload and place things, and people would get upset. And the group crew members, why they tell us to put something down and then they only want us to move it 2 or 3 inches to the side or move it off the wall and blah blah blah, because that's their stuff and they're gonna live there. The second we get it into place, we're fine. And we can go on to the next thing, get it done, and we go home. Now, it's another if you got a crew leader who's over your shoulder every 2 seconds, telling you how to pick it up, how to move it, and all this, and you know that you've been doing this for quite some time. As a matter of fact, squatting to pick something up has become a reflex. You don't even think about it. You see something on the ground, you squat to pick it up, lift with the knees. You do not need somebody to come along and tell you that. Yet that's what they want to do. If you're going to tap me on the shoulder talking about lift with your knees, how about you get on the other side of the box and you lift with your knees too? Because that's how my mind works. There's a site called LinkedIn. Everybody on there, it's supposed to be talking about, career choices and building the correct work environment. And you'll see on there the quotes and the slogans for great leaders and things to do to make sure that your employees don't leave. An employee won't leave an environment that has thus, 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 and so. I have a great time going in on LinkedIn and posting stuff about being a sole proprietor and entrepreneurship and things like that. Why? Because it's a corporate site that's trying to breed and grow a bunch of people who just want to show up somewhere and have somebody micromanage them. So if you want to have a business site, let's talk about the other options and choices you can have in a business. I'm an entrepreneur. They ask me all the time, are you hiring? No, hire me. If you stopped relying on what the TV told you and what the radio told you and what the latest post from some boosted ad told you, if you stopped relying on that, if you stopped going to convenience stores, if you stopped opting for anything that they place in front of you because it was convenient, what would they do? What if you went and found all the ways and opportunities for you to live for free? What would they do? And I'm not talking about sign up for food stamps. You don't have to sign up for food stamps. There are 3 or 4 organizations in every city and every town that give away food 3 or 4 times a week. Now, you might not want to go and deal with the people who are handing out the food because, I was talking about church earlier. They might want you to show your ID and sign the form and all of that and give your information. They have to, because it's a 501c3 status, and they have to prove that they're actually helping people out. And they have to actually show a report for all of the inventory. You see, that's where I'm getting at with this. Everything that we deal with in life has some sort of inventory report. And the only way that I'm going to actually defeat this giant in this battle that I have going on is if I have people also with me saying, yeah, that's a giant that needs to be taken out. Who is this uncircumcised cretin trying to usurp our resources? You see, that's how I wake up every day. When I was 6 years old and reading about Samson, I wanted to have locks in my hair. And all I knew was that meant some big curly. Didn't I know it meant that when I was 6? I wanted to be strong. And if I had to, I want to be able to push against two pillars and take out the evil king and everybody else that's in the building, including myself, if I have to. I want to be strong. I want to have faith in the Creator. I want the Creator to bless me and push me forward in all my work. Now, I was 6 years old. I want locks. Why do you want locks? Because I keep hearing about all these people who do these evil things in the Bible, and then eventually somebody comes along with some locks and clears the room. I want some locks. Now, when you get the locks and you start walking a certain way, then people of that evil empire don't necessarily want you around because there's a certain look. You see, this doesn't look like somebody does regular maintenance and upkeep. My regular maintenance and upkeep is I live, eat, and breathe and pray every day. What's prayer? What you think, what you say, and what you do. I live, eat, and pray every day. That doesn't mean I just put my hands together a certain way and say some words. My actions, my work is also defined in my prayers because it takes all three things. You think about it, then you say it, and then you do it. You ask for a petition, but then you have to go forth to even get to the place where it would be served to you for your answer. That's why at the very beginning of this, I said, you know what? Please don't come to me quoting. Come to me doing. I will see the quote in your actions. You want to see my eyes roll up in my head real quick? Come to me with a fan in your hand, quoting Bible verses. I've told you before, I'm not a fan of somebody blowing hot air. Pun intended all the way through that one. Hope you got all of that. Which takes me back to the beginning of this whole spiel. We keep seeing prophets show up to these wells and change up the whole social structure. Because every time they show up, they have to reset what was original. Man show up to a well, lady's there trying to feed her sheep, But there's these ruffian guys there. And they say, no, you have to wait your turn. And then even after these ruffian guys are done, here comes some more. They say, oh, no, you still gonna have to wait your turn. So the man who comes up, who's a stranger in the land, says, these ladies get their fill. One of those ladies said, I recognize that courage in you. I would like to introduce you to our father, because the ladies were some sisters. Turned into a life-changing event. Man who had left his homeland for striking down someone, abusing another, found refuge and a wife. Another man comes along, different situation. Same situation though. Same scenario. Different place, same scenario. Young lady trying to feed her flock. These other folks won't allow her to do what she needs to do, and people are forgetting ladies first. Something real simple. We're taught it now, and I'm sure it was something that was taught even back then. But we're looking at how greed and no honor. When you replace the standard, then everything that you take out, yeah, there is something that can replace it, but it's not the standard. So it will be outside, and yes, it will be unacceptable. So we were looking at unacceptable behavior each of these times at the wells. Man shows up, stops them from acting that way, and the lady says, I want to take you to meet my father. And here we go again with another marriage situation. Man goes to a well, and there's a lady there. They exchange courtesies. Come to find out, the lady wasn't thirsty for water. She was thirsty for the word, and the word was given. And this was a lady who most would have said she was not worthy of the word. However, the word was directly given, undiluted, to the point where all the social norms were thrown out to show people just how silly acting that they were. Because any heart, mind, body, soul who wants to actually serve our creator, Yahweh Elohim, is worthy. It's not about your bloodline. It's not about what you wear. It's not about how you wear your hair. It's about what you do in service. It's about what you do in recognition and loyalty. What you do, what you honor. So here we are out here trying to make sure that we are posting up the correct message, and we are making sure that the kingdom is represented. If we're going to do all of that, then we need to make sure that we actually claim ownership to our actions. How many will stand up, raise their hand, and say, I do own my prayers? Don't ever run up on me talking about, I will pray for you. Pray right now. I might not make it till later. If you want to offer your prayers, you can, don't even offer, just start praying. Now you're acting. Now we can work together. And I'm serious about that. If you have not noticed, when we have our public assemblies, and someone says, I need prayer. Boom, 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 right there. And no, it doesn't take 20 minutes because I only have so much that I can type. So let's get straight to the point. I mean, I'm very serious about that. I don't even know what the criteria is going to be when Kahalet says, okay, this is what you need to be doing in order for us all to be walking the same. I'm just letting you know who I am and what I do already. I can't wait to see the list. I want to make sure that I'm hitting all the points right. But yeah, just to give you an idea. And yeah, that's why this is not just about, okay, I got one person in the room. This is about anybody that wants to watch this later. Something else Khaled said. Anything they said in the 80s and the 90s, are they saying it today? Yeah, you can go check my record. Go check my record. And if you find a discrepancy, let me know. Might be a story attached to it. And you know I'm fond of telling stories. We've made it to the hour and 6 minute mark. And today, I believe we might have started like 5 minutes after the top of the hour or something like that. Look out. Look out. And guess who actually went ahead and allowed that coffee water to get room temperature? Let me check it. It's still a little bit hot. I'm going to mix this instant coffee powder, a couple little granules of sugar. You know, today's been a little bit rushing because I haven't gone back into the research that I was doing, taking a break from really talking about it. Now, all of it still comes back in full circle. Just because I'm not talking about Burkina Faso, it doesn't mean that that's gone away. It all ties in. You see, they're in a situation where other people are overseeing resources. See, that's where you look at macroeconomics compared to microeconomics. A sole proprietor in a community is dealing with microeconomics. I have this or these products. I'm not worried about competition. I'm worried about just being able to make sure that I can extend my services to other people and I can also survive. Not only survive, I can build a legacy so that even my great grandchildren have something that they can build off of, live off of, and grow from. That's a sole proprietor. Now that means I have to build based on some source of resources that I know is going to be there. This is not fly by night. This is not, oh, we became millionaires overnight. This is not, we hit a lottery. No, this is guardianship. This is trustee. When it comes to the term lord over some land, that's what we're talking about. Because when you have great nations like Nigeria, Mali, Benin, Senegal, Burkina Faso, Mauritania, when you have countries like that, Those countries are all larger than most of the states in the United States. Those countries are sending out resources that end up building the technology and sometimes even the clothing that consumers in the United States and other places are purchasing. So you got this bed, this homeland of resources that are not even being directly controlled by the residents of those regions. They're not being correctly compensated due to these larger corporations elbowing the smaller companies out of the market. And in order to evade worrying about this being claimed as a monopoly, well, they just disperse 13% ownership to each and every other person on the playing field. Imagine if you did sit down to a game of Monopoly, and after everybody got their money from the bank to start with, every time someone bought a deed for a property, the owner had to also 13% of value of that property to each person sitting at the table. And then every time somebody landed on whatever property, after they were paid, they would have to dispense 13% each and every time. Well, guess what? There's any money. Selah. That's what I'm facing. When you hear me mention Sony and Time and Warner and why I don't care about Spotify and all of that, is because they're just playing a game of propaganda in each other's pockets. That's a game. DistroKid, CD Baby, offshoots of all of those companies. So yeah, they can go out there and one person talk bad about one is just advertising for the other one. Well, that one is bad. Go to this one over here. That's why we are working from a completely different perspective. What are for an interdependent music label, for an interdependent artist label? Because now we're going beyond music. You hear about these $1 million rappers. You hear that they are artists, but really this musicians. Does your favorite rapper design their own album covers? Does your favorite rapper design their own clothes, or does someone come along and cut them a check and say they will sponsor them? How many people do you know have their own clothesline? And that clothesline actually turns right back around and gives benefits and support back to their recognized community, assembly. How many artists out there do you know about who are initiating work programs and occupational programs, meaning places to live and not just where to work? How many labels do you know are initiating such programs? As a matter of fact, how many religious institutions do you know who are actually setting up their assembly, their members, with the mindset of let's acquire financial freedom? How can I fill in the blank for free? The option that they don't tell you that you have. That you want to do in life. How many times did you go and find out how can you do it on a DIY level without it costing you your next paycheck? How can I establish something that will provide me a paycheck for free? How can I use my talents to establish my work path for free? And then once you've exhausted all of those free options is when you start thinking about what you're going to pay as a subscription instead of making it part of your budget at the very beginning. What do I have to pay? What do I have to pay? What do I? No. What can I do for free? What can I do with my own hands, with my own mind, with my own ability? What can I get initiated? And once I've done so, how many times can I pass this information to other people so that they can do the same? And then we can all meet up at the playground and come with this new game. Now, if you want to get into my mind and see what it's like on my 6-year-old level, there you go. Thinking about an adult term and taking it straight to there. Because that's also what happens at the workplace. You have a bunch of adults coming up with some crazy rules. Moving the phone around too much, and I don't know if the screen is doing anything crazy for you or not. But there we go. Yeah, for all the inter-office memos that get passed around and all that kind of thing, that's all they're saying. We had a powwow and we had to come up with some new house rules. All right, everybody try this out this week. That's all that is. How long does it take a ninja to mix up some instant coffee? So far, about an hour and 18 minutes. Spoon, spoon, spoon. Gotta do my spoon. All right. I lost my spoon. Oh, I know where I put it. So earlier today, made a post. Made a post that was a blog. And this post came from a site that most people don't know about. The site is called PayHip. PAYHIP. Came in here for my spoon, and I don't see it. Well, I don't know where I put my spoon. On PayHip, we can place music, videos, pictures, and they can be directly purchased and downloaded with a click of a button. That's for digital products. And then you can also see PayHip is set up to be a storefront. So you can sell products there. You can also offer tutoring and things like that, and selling products that also includes audio books, as far as doing the recordings yourself and then providing chapter by chapter. You know, I don't know. It would have to be a slow breakdown, but it's definitely possible. You're looking at, excuse me, I would say 10 minutes max per recording. That's why I said it might not be a full chapter in one recording. Full chapter might take 4 recordings. It's 40 minutes at least, right? Depending on how you write. Point is this: there are ways that we can present our products. Type out your book, have it all set up the same way that you would have it if it was for a hard copy bound, hard or paperback. Have that available. As a matter of fact, have that set in documents so that a person can download it and read it or print it out on their own time. Because, yeah, some people do like to flip through pages. My point is, yes, they do offer for you to be able to sell audiobooks if you go through Amazon and use their side technology. And there are also some other convenient sites who offer the same thing, yet you're limited. So, what if you actually did take the reins and that same handy dandy manuscript that you typed up for your book, get it in mind with the way that you want it to be, and then start doing the recording a chapter and then release them for people to directly get them from you. Then you don't have to place it on Amazon and this and that and the third. As a matter of fact, now here's the kicker. Once you register those 10-minute tracks, that's a soundtrack now. That's an album. Your book has become an album. So you're going to register it as sounds. Then each of those tracks get individual serial numbers. Your whole book becomes an album, so it gets a UPC barcode. And now you can be distributed way beyond Amazon. People riding along in their cars in traffic can listen to your book that you distributed. People listening to iHeart and Deezer have the opportunity of hearing your book without you having to go through all the troubles of pushing this button and pushing that button and buying this subscription and all of that. No. You go and you register your wares, and you have a place where people can go and find you and see. PayHip is a site that is directly connected with PayPal. So when a person makes an order, their purchase would go to your PayPal account. If you have a picture up and people can download that picture and it costs $1, every time someone downloads that picture and they pay through credit card or whatever, you get $1 sent to your account. And yes, it is set up with taxing and all of that stuff. So the dollar becomes $1.09. And then, yes, that also adds into your W-2, W-4 information, which means that, yes, you will be getting information at the end of the year saying what you've gained and earned. Every time you sign into this profile, it shows you everything that you have in your inventory. It shows how many times it's been viewed. People looking at in my case on my profile right now, it shows there's 1 picture, 1 video, and 8 songs. The picture is it's not really Morgan Freeman, it's not really Brad Pitt, it's a rendering, and they're making an exchange. One character is saying it's a shame that the N word is now recognized in a dictionary. And then the other guy says, well, so is outward. And then there's a video attributed to that little exchange. So there's a short video with some sound to it. That's there. And then there are the 8 tracks from the album For Yahweh. They are there. Today, or maybe it was yesterday, I posted the blog. Yeah, it was yesterday, last night. I posted the blog concerning the fact that you can pick up merchandise on Spreadshop that displays images that you see posted from me. The one that I did yesterday was an image that is talking about Deborah from the Bible and the issues of obedience. And in the image, it just is it's a statement. It's a quote. I've shown the image before. What are you doing? You're in the presence of a judge, a priestess. For all of the people out here who are so used to greed, disrespect, disloyalty, you see it in their eyes, you see it in their actions. That's their prayer. To be disloyal, to be greedy, to get as much as they can, regardless of the next person. All of those things are outside of the standards. So when we see it, we pretty much know, well, don't know. They're not part of the kingdom. When we see the presentations, that's not a place where I need to go. Here's a big telltale sign. This is why I don't spend a lot of time on those streaming platforms, or why I'm not about whether I'm popular or if I get a lot of plays on them. If you look and see what gets a lot of plays on those platforms, it's not something I want to be associated with. I would rather reach 10 people just because they saw me on a random situation doing one of these broadcasts, or they see me or see some of my music or video or something from me doing organic marketing, than to be put on a playlist by one of these curators, because those playlists are anti my message. And it's not my message. I'm a vessel. It would be mighty odd to find anything that I'm talking about amongst 20 other people who want to tell you about how they're spending bans on strippers and whatever else. It would be mighty odd to find my work in the middle of all of that. So no, I don't concentrate on if I'm getting big plays from certain platforms. They don't have what I do there. Likewise, in scenarios where people show up in the room and then people are fickle. People are comfortable. They will be comfortable in your dis-ease. I'm well aware of that. Seen that all my life. That's how I can tell who to trust, who to call family, and who to just observe. Because I see it a mile away. I'll stand right there next to you. Don't believe, don't mean that I trust you any further than I can throw you. And I'm a pretty strong individual. No, I don't trust you. I got you right there because I got the tendencies of a snake. I'm going to line up right next to you to see how big you are. And I'm going to watch you so I can see what your actions are. hmm Then I'm going to decide, do I want to deal with you? Do I need to subdue you? Or do I need to just go on about my business? Now, I won't lie. That's my kung fu mentality. Use your abilities and skills and practice with everything that you do. Let's see here. If you're an entrepreneur and you know it, raise your hand. If you give service in your community, raise your hand. If you got a plan and you're active and your movements are attractive. If you're an entrepreneur and you're positive in your community, raise your hand. If you're walking away from Babylon, raise your hand. If you refuse to support anything about it, raise your hand. If you know that you can see and you're done with the ludicrousity, if you know that you are a servant in Yahweh's kingdom, raise your hand. Not going to reiterate all of the things that Mafia Soy Publications stand for. All I'm going to say is we're talking about an organization that started up because you had a handful of artists and musicians who did not want to join with the corporations and be misrepresented. This group of artists banded together because they knew it wasn't just about their friendship and their circle. It was about other artists and musicians in the community, in the local region, not just the city, the actual state, the actual region of the country, the southeastern region, if you wanted to put four corners of the country, and not just the southeastern region, because we were in contact with people who were traveling all over the country at all times, people coming from all different states, all different cities. And quite a few of them were musicians who were willing to get their albums pressed on vinyl and sell CDs and sell tapes and book their own gigs as far as going on tour dates. That's how Mafia Soy Publications started. You see, there's a traveling culture that goes along with the touring bands. And there are certain parts of merchandise that you don't get anywhere else. One of those is a thing called a zine, apostrophe ZINE. If you go to a show, punk rock show, you're not going to see Time magazine. If you do, it's because people have ripped up certain pictures and made collages to make a flyer for the show. You're not going to see an intact Time magazine sitting around for somebody to read. Now, what you will see are collections of folded paper where someone took five 8 by 12 or 8 by 11 and a half pieces of paper, folded them in half, put two staples in the middle, and filled up front to back information, comics, just whatever. Call it a zine. Sometimes they're even smaller than that because the way they would get printed is you got somebody who would do the whole, I just used the word and now I forgot it again, um, collage. Someone would do the collage. They tape the pieces together onto the pages and then get them copied. Take them to Kinko's and get a front and back copy. And then they would sit there and assemble the zines. So you might print out 20 zines at one time, travel around till you sell them. You still got that main one copy of how to do it. So you just go to the next Kinko's and you print out some more. How much do the zines cost? Anywhere from $1 to $3. It's not something you're going to find going to a major concert somewhere. Does your favorite artist have people who come along with some DIY magazines about things you can do in culture? I've been there, I've seen it. Those same zines are what inspired Mafia Soy Publications to begin because we knew, okay, we can draw out the pictures in a composition notebook and then turn around and run copies of it and staple together our own comic books. Hello, 1999. Now, back then, we couldn't take pictures and then turn around and upload them into a site in Asia somewhere. Now we can for regular publishing and then turn around and turn that picture into an NFT. Things you couldn't do in 1999, things you couldn't do in 1979, things you were barely able to do in 2009. Forward thinking. That's the other thing about this. Nothing that I will tell you has anything to do with a trend. If it does, then it has to do with trend setting, seeing what's out there and bringing the next level. We don't need a repeat of the bell bottoms. We need some functional pants. Who's with me? I like the design of Army BTUs. Give me some baggy pants with some cargo pockets and let's do work. Friends and family, we've made it to the hour and 39-minute mark. How about we throw on a couple of tunes and call it a day? Because we've talked about a lot and brought it all back to four. Considering the perception of music concerning organic marketing strategies. To talk about marketing strategies. How to market your audiobook that you didn't know you even had. How to market all of the content that you post. How to avoid promoting undesirable content. You see, our Kohelet today was also talking about how we are gatekeepers. And it's been a few weeks. However, we had a moment where I even made a bold statement because I was talking about a similar subject, and one of our audience members mentioned we don't need gatekeepers. And I said, oh, yes, we do. Oh, yes, we do. Because I know of a city that has 12 gates in it. Each gate is assigned a name. Each of those names has responsibilities, including being gatekeepers. Yes, we need gatekeepers. And that's exactly what Kahalet was talking about. The fact that we did have people back in the day, and he was talking about people who wrote editorials and reviews in periodicals, the Source magazine, things like that. And they would say if an album was actually hip hop, or if it was just rap, if it actually did reflect the culture, or if it was just commercial, to let you know before you even go out and buy it. Because at that time, not everything was just readily available for you to just hit play. Sometimes you might only hear one or two songs from an album because that's all that was being promoted. Now you can hear all of an album all at once. There are some people who are still following the same format of, oh, let me announce that I've published a song and then let me promote this song for the next 6 months straight. All you're going to see is me posting about this song. I'm here to tell you that no, that is not the perspective for organic marketing strategies. If I tell you that I have 5 albums out, I don't expect you to name 5 songs. What I do expect is for you to tell me, well, man, you've shown me so much different music, I don't even know which album is which. And you're right. That's exposure. Guess what happens when your favorite artist signs up with a major label? They have someone in there somewhere who happens to be the marketing department, and they decide, well, we're going to showcase this song for 6 months, and then there's another song that we think can do some great results on the album chart, so we're going to promote that one for 6 months. Then after that year is up, while this person is going around on tour, we'll be preparing for the second album. And then we might promote something that came up in third place on that first album. However, we're just going to recycle back to the first song. So you're getting 2 years worth of promotion on an album from your favorite artist, not knowing all the other stuff that they have available. So if you do a little bit of work, you can surpass the activities of your favorite artist. Selah. If you do a little bit of work, that same message that Yahweh Elohim once put out there, that's what people will hear instead of the next controversy involving whoever and whoever celebrity. If you do a little bit of work, that's what's going to be on people's minds. And then people will start getting together and making that a more prevalent subject. Nobody knows about the product that you have because you haven't put it in their face. Someone might come along and point a finger at me and say, well, nobody knows about you. I beg to differ. There's quite a few people in quite a few different countries that I know I haven't been to that know about me. Most important, they know about the message of Yahweh Elohim. They know about the message of Allah. They know about the message of Ravak HaKadesh, At Yashavai HaMashiach. They know about that because I made it my work to make that my declaration. This is what I'm going to put in front of me. It's also why you'll see sometimes me placing that statement. Your work precedes you. The legends about you, your work, your activities precede you. How often do you meet someone new through someone you've already known, and the first thing they say is, I've heard so much about you. Yeah, you the one that does blah, 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 blah. Your work precedes you. Modern conveniences. I was looking for the remote control. When your remote control is black and you're in a room that has a lot of shadows casted here and there, it's hard to find things. So as promised, I'm gonna find a couple of songs for us to close out on. We're at the hour and 47-minute section of this here broadcast. I want to give a thank you to everyone who's come through to visit, those of you who have stayed through the whole thing, those who come in and visit later. Thank you. Tada wa shukran. Thank you for your attendance. Much appreciated. Father's peace and blessings to you. Shalamat Barak. Assalamu alaikum. I think within the next day or two, we might do a visit with the core. So we'll come to straight out of scriptures. I want to show you all how we're really supposed to be applying what we're reading in these holy scrolls, what we're supposed to be applying to our everyday life right now. There's something important that Kahalat says all the time. Instead of Yahasharayel, Chazan, the book of Revelations, means to rejoice. If you're coming from the perspective of a Greek or one outside of the standards, then it's Armageddon. It's Armageddon because their system is the one that falls. It's the end of the world as they know it. Armageddon. But for us, it means triumph over all. The meek shall inherit the earth. So an oppressor who is keeping you from your resources obviously is not the meek. And if you in turn use the resources that abound within the earth, as well as the resources, the talent and compassion that dwells within inside, you using that in service of the kingdom of Yahweh Elohim means that you get to inherit the earth once all of the non-standard is driven away. Yeah, they're a panic. You ever been in the club at 1 o'clock in the morning and you know that it's going to close at 3 a.m. and you ain't got nothing to do or nowhere to go? You ever stood there and closed out the club and the guy said you ain't got to go home, but you got to get up out of here? That's what they're dealing with. But we ain't got nowhere to go. Ain't no Waffle House in this town. Yeah, Salah. Party over. That's where my mind is. That's why I laugh. Oh, I'm angry all the time. But that's what kept at bay because I'm so busy laughing too. Seeing Babylon crumble, seeing Jericho crumble, hearing a spiritual leader instruct other people on values and things that I've read and learned, being able to share that moment with other people while hearing that same exact message, knowing that that means that the message is being spread across to all four corners, knowing that that means we're that much closer to prophecy fulfillment. Now, this is a way that I talk that people don't get to hear very much from me. They don't get to hear that part. What do you believe in? Well, you can't believe in that over there because that's not the same as that book there. Well, says who? Says you who didn't read it? Because I can show you. I can show you the parallels. Yeah, it's a very happy and rejoiceful moment every time that I'm hearing information from the scrolls being recited in front of the people and examples being shown. And then the request for people to go ahead and line up and do something with it. Not, oh, I'm thinking about it. Oh, I'm going to start next week. No. As quickly as you can jump up and tell me that you got the flu and you want me to pray for you to get better, I need you to jump up just as quickly and say, I got an idea that I want to do for service and I want it done now. What can I do to get started? Oh, you're going to see a response from me. Believe it. After we try and walk through it and you can't do it, I'm going to see what I can do. And then we're going to see what we can do together. If I ain't got a pot of coffee that day, that's what will drive me. I will be up all day until we get it completed. You better believe it. Chalk that one up to Muhammad Ali. I'm a poet and I don't know it. Oh, I pray everyone else has a great day today. I pray that your day started great. I pray that whatever task that you have lined up, that you walk with the strength and the wherewithal that was granted to you from our Father. Because even though it was granted to you, it's up to you to use it. So I pray that you use it. And I pray that you give thanks afterwards and prepare for the next task. Hmm. Let me see. As promised, I told you we have a couple of songs to leave out on. So, oh, that's what's wrong. Once again, on somebody else's device and trying to do something that's normally easy for me, not quite so easy on this. Because I have to go and visit what's already my channel. And it's a different device, a different profile. All right. Who knows about Screaming Jay Hawkins? Yeah. I am the cool. Ooh, I gotta check something real quick. You all gotta hear this. You gotta hear this. Chicken feed, chicken feed. Mama wants to come chicken feed. Chicken feed, chicken feed. Mama wants to come chicken feed. Come on, children, come and see. Mama gonna cook some chicken feed. Chicken feed, chicken feed. Mama gonna cook some chicken feed. Quick in the kitchen, what did I see? About a whole big old chicken feed. Oh, chicken feed, chicken feed. Mama gonna cook some chicken feed. Oh, no, not me. She said, you better eat those chicken feed. Someone said, where's the meat? She said, you gotta cook those chicken feed. Oh, chicken feed, chicken feed. Mama gonna cook some chicken feed. Chicken feed, chicken feed. I'm going to some chicken feed. Oh, no, no, chicken feed. Cause that's what I always eat to feed. Chicken feed, chicken feed. I'm going to some chicken feed. Chicken feed, chicken feed. Mama gonna cook some chicken feed. I don't care what you say about me. I'm gonna cook my chicken. Yeah. The chicken feed. Chicken feed. All right. Where that song come from? 10 years ago, people. 10 years ago. So I was in this small town, right? And ran across a family who was actually very big and on the radio and all that kind of stuff in their region. Thing was, they had never copywritten any of the stuff that they put out. And so I was talking with a different person and a gentleman from the family. He was listening in. He heard it all, right? Hey, we have a recording and we're not going to do too much with it, but would you mind placing it under copyright? So sure, I'll do that. Now, what do you mean you're not going to do anything with it? Because it defeats the purpose of having a copyright. And so basically what he was saying is he knew that I was wanting to do some shows and everything. So he said, how about you use this song on whatever show? Just give my family the credit for it. And I said, wow, wow, wow. Right? So that's the story behind that song, Chicken Feet. And it was funny because my mom had told me stories from when she was little. Like she was already particular about eating certain things. And there was no way in the world she was gonna eat chicken feet. And her mom, my real grandmother, I didn't get a chance to meet her because my real grandmother passed when my mom was 12. So I never got a chance to meet my grandma, even though the same way that they say I act just like my granddad, my mom acts like her mom. So I was fortunate enough to have my mom as who she is, but didn't get a chance to meet my grandma. And she cooked chicken feet all the time. It was like 2 or 3 times out the week. And mom said every time she would peer over into the pot, it looked like those feet were going to jump out at her. So that's also why she didn't like the movie Alien. So mom liked the one that put the pictures together in order for there to be a video to it. And she wasn't really digging the video, because it's feet in your face. So yeah, that family actually did dedicate that song, and we are of liberty to use it. I just want to choose the right show for that to be the intro and the outro. So there you go. 10 years ago. Let's see if I can find a song for us to roll out on. Playlist I'm in right now. This is really a promotional playlist. Uh, it's got some of my music on it, but a lot of it is information. I need to go to a different playlist. Oh yeah, I was supposed to be finding this Screaming Jay Hawkins song. My apologies for holding everybody up. See if I can find this real quick. And no, it's in a different playlist. So we're gonna play this and be done. Does this take this hammer? No. There we go. We closing out with some Lead Belly, y'all. Akati, I know you said you don't like blues, but this song right here, it does something for me. All right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Istina sirata al-mustaqim. Sirata al-ladina an'amta alayhim. Khairil maghdubi alayhim. Walad Darlene. Amen. In the name of our Father, the most merciful, most compassionate, creator of all worlds, Lord of our day, maker of our divine path. We ask you to keep us on that path instead of finding us like the ones who have disobeyed and disappointed you. We thank you for all sustenance that you give us. We ask that you forgive us when we do step out of your boundaries and to teach us how to do the same for others. And we thank you for the divine path. Ameen. Inshallah, Ya Allah, Yubarik Alma wa Sahaba. Alhamdulillah, Shukranallah, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Ameen. In the name of our Father, Lord willing, please bless, heal, and secure the community and the promise keepers. All praise to you, our source of sustenance and mercy. All thanks. Ameen. Until the next time we all meet, like I said, I pray you all have a great day, a productive day. Feel free at any time to reach out with questions, suggestions, and so forth. You can reach me in the DMs at any time. And please look out on the other social media platforms when you see me share a link, because there's some posts here on YouTube as well. Go and look at the posts. I share links there too. I share ideas and insights there too. Every picture that I share has a point to it. Every video has a point to it. I'm not just trying to generate an audience. There is a message. Have a great day, everyone. Shalom Barak. Assalamu alaikum. Amen Tava. Amen Tuafo. Yahava Ahava. Ahava Ahava. Yahava is love. Love is love. That is all compassion.